This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Hello and welcome to Settle the Score. My name is Harry Durham. What a weekend of Premier League football it was. The Tyne and Wear derby is back in the Premier League. And I'm going to say this right now, it didn't disappoint. Yes, the standard of football may not have been up to scratch, but it had everything you want from a derby. Scrappy football, you know. The visitors' scoreboard, Sunderland refusing to put the Newcastle badge on the scoreboard. It's those little bits and pieces that make Derby Day so special. Nick Voltamada, mate, that guy is not going to want to be seen. He's going to go into hiding at the moment off the back of one of the best own goals that we've ever seen. Joining me this morning to look back on all of the action is Richard from the Wise Men Say podcast and Alex of Talk of the Toon. Lads, let's take a quick look back at it then. Derby Day, it's the first time in years. I know we had it in the cup a couple of years ago. The Tyne and Wear derby is back. Richard, I'm going to start with you. That was proper. I mean, the style of football may not have been, it's not one for the footballing gods, the footballing connoisseurs, but the scrappy elements of it, and I know both of you would have been nervous, it was a proper derby in my opinion.
Yeah, the intensity was, well, certainly from Sunderland's side, the intensity was what you needed from a Wear-Tyne derby. So yeah, everyone was up for it. It felt like a bit of a battleground at times, and yeah, I think when you view it from like kind of the inside the bubble of following either Sunderland or Newcastle, you think it's the greatest game you've ever seen. When you come out of it, then you see the stats, and it's like, yeah, it's the lowest XG ever recorded. I think in a Premier League game, or certainly one of the stats I said yesterday that was the lowest XG they've ever seen. And you think, yeah, maybe the quality wasn't that great, but it doesn't really matter in the end.
Alex, Wear-Tyne, what do you make of that? As a neutral, we always refer to it, and Geordie would always say Tyne Wear, but Rich has put his own sort of little Sunderland spin on it there.
I just go with the home team. When we play them, when we play at their place, it'll be the Tyne Wear derby. It's just a question of semantics.
Diego's superior club, definitely Tyne Wear every time.
Alex, are you a bit disappointed in the team off the back of yesterday? I mean, the away form, which we'll get onto in a bit, hasn't been up to standard, and we've seen Newcastle being a bit of a dominant force at St James's Park, but do you feel like the players were as up for it as they probably should have been or could have been?
I don't think disappointment does it justice, to be honest. We didn't seem to have any fight, any passion yesterday, and it really let us down. I think Sunderland definitely came into that game knowing it was a derby, where I think we were relying on our quality and just didn't really have that fight until the last half an hour. It's like really disappointing to see, especially given a couple of years ago we went there with a lot of fight, a lot of heart. Yesterday, I think the team just let us as fans down. I think, and it was really tough to take. As a fan, it's just for me not good enough. And I think our away form, the way, unfortunately, Eddie Howe sets our team up for away games, just doesn't fit the players we've got. And I think that showed yesterday. We had no threat, no control of the game. And to be honest, I don't think Sunderland deserve a huge amount of credit for preventing us playing. I think it was a very poor game for both teams. No one really had that control. They just came for a bit more passion, a bit more fight in my eyes.
Richard, do you agree with that? A bit more passion, a bit more fight from Sunderland?
Yeah, it's a bit of a cautionary tale, really, and it's one that we've learned in the past, not so recent past, that if you kind of undercook the preparations going into a derby, or kind of just downplay it, or even just go into it slightly less than 100%, it's gonna bite you. Obviously, yeah, it was a game light on chances and a game light on quality. I'm not sure there were that many completed passes between the two sides, but that doesn't really matter in these kind of games.
What's it been down to with Sunderland this season? Of course, you look back on the playoff final and what a magical day that was. All of the Sunderland fans down in London. I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with them, and it was a real sense of belief, especially of what the club's been, has gone through over sort of like the last, close to like 10 years and staying in the Championship. What is it? What's the ingredient been to this success? 16 games into the Premier League season?
It's been almost like a perfect storm, really. I mean, not many sides carry momentum from the playoffs into a Premier League season, but Sunderland have managed to do it despite only having a couple of the players that were involved last season involved this season, in Trey Hume and Dan Ballard. But the players that have been brought in have been recruited so well that they've just slotted straight in, and they've got what it means to play for Sunderland. That's largely to do with Regis Lebris, who's managed to kind of keep the consistency, but it's also down to the characters that were brought in, such as Granit Xhaka, who's played in big games before. He's obviously played for big teams, won titles, and he's just brought this elite mentality into the club, which probably didn't exist before now. And it's just carried things on. I mean, you talk about a relegation battle to Granit Xhaka, and he probably doesn't really know what you're talking about. So that hasn't been in the thinking of a lot of the players that we've brought in, that have been playing European football, playing Champions League football, and have been playing at the top level. I think that's where the success is laying, is bringing in the players that are used to success rather than used to kind of battling against the elements. So it's just changed the mentality completely.
Alex, Volta-Mada. I understand strikers tracking back, strikers getting back and helping with defending, but a striker of his caliber, I always think should be on the counter attack and not in your own box. I don't think he'd score a better header than that, in his career, if it's scoring an own goal or if it's a goal for you boys as well. I mean, it's tough to obviously concede a goal like that to your biggest, rivals on Derby Day, but at the same time, what a header!
For me, it all comes down to the cross. Like, what a cross! Put it on a plate for Volta-Mada, just tip it past Ramsdale. I mean, it's a cross that we're crying out for in Newcastle. Just a lot of pace, like on the money, hit the 6-yard box, and for me, big question is why Volta-Mada's back there. Does he need to go for it? Someone should be yelling at him, saying "Chow's behind him." Like, he's got a clear header away. I think. I mean, what's more concerning is there are two German players. You think they would have some strong communication there, unless it was just in the moment. But yeah, I mean, I think it sums up the game where the best cross of the game leads to the best finish of the game, and they're from opposing teams. I think, for me, Volta-Mada needs to be up the pitch. He needs to, needs to do what he does best, bring other players into the game and get into those goal scoring opportunities. And I think it goes back to the way we were set up yesterday. He just didn't get that opportunity to, and our quality just wasn't there to feed him with those balls to try and create a bit of magic, because he is very much capable of doing that at the other end of the pitch. Unfortunately, it all happened at the wrong end of the pitch yesterday. But yeah, I just don't. For me, it keeps going back to our team setup, and he can't play with a winger like Elanga, and Gordon's not quite on the ball at the moment. So I feel like he's just being hung out there up front to dry a little bit. Not a lot of support, not a lot of quality around him, and we're not seeing the best of him. He's come up with some huge goals for us, and I think he's dropped off. And I think there's no surprise that our team has dropped off in quality and goal scoring ability as well, as he settles in, which is a bit of a shame.
Is anything down to recruitment, the form on the road in the Premier League or Champions League, or is it in a sense of squad selection, like you sort of said there to the game yesterday?
I mean, there's a huge contrast in our away form in the Champions League to Premier League. Like, we hammered Union SG 4-0. Leverkusen was a tough one to take, conceding again so late. But in the Premier League, you just don't really know what's going on. We seem to be quite happy to to sit back for low block and play on the counter. Like, it was all well and good last season when you have a striker like Isak who's able to run in behind with pace. You had Murphy there willing to put an early cross in. Gordon was a little bit more productive. And this year we just can't play like that. Walter not blessed with pace. He's a quality player, but it's not in his game to run in behind a high line. That's where we got Elanga. And Elanga, for me, he did well at Forest, and he looks like he can hardly kick a football at Newcastle. And it's quite surprising to see, really disappointing to see. And I think he's almost come in for a big price tag and is trying too hard to make that to justify that price tag. You see glimpses of quality, but half the time he punts the ball out of play, trying to run onto it, and he's it's disappointing. And I think for the away form, I think we just need to set up to play like we do at home. We need to be playing on the front foot. We need to be going at teams like Sunderland, who've just come up. Like, they've done very, very well. Like, not taking anything away from Sunderland, but why not give them a game away from home? Let's play with that intensity we're renowned for. And it just seems to we have no intensity away from home, and it's a really, really big concern because we can't just rely on our home form.
Lads, last few from me before we finish up. Richard, the scoreboard at the Stadium of Light, I absolutely loved that little sort of that little touch. No Newcastle badge on the board, just the visitors. Is that a regular thing with the away team, or was that specifically done just for Newcastle coming to the Stadium of Light?
That was specific. I think this all dates back to the last time Newcastle came to the Stadium of Light and they played in the FA Cup, and the club hierarchy were quite new to it at the time. And Alex will tell you himself, they completely rolled out the red carpet. I say the red carpet. They rolled out the black and white carpet for Newcastle. Gave Newcastle the traditional home end, the entire stand. Gave them the executive boxes within that section, the hospitality area, which was decked out in the Newcastle colours. Even the tills went down at the end of the day, so they all got free beer while they waited to be let out of the stadium. So it couldn't have made it any more comfortable for them, nearly 2 years ago. And I think the club kind of saw the backlash to that, realised what a mistake they'd made and learned the lessons from it. And ever since, there's for big games, they've just ramped up the little 1% things that would rankle. So when Coventry came for the second leg of the playoffs, they moved the advertising hoardings in, knowing that they take long throws. Sunderland themselves now do it. They do it routinely. We take long throws ourselves. It seems to not affect us. But there's just the little things that they do, and the scoreboard was just one of those little things that they've done just to put people off a little bit. And there's probably like the mind games of play. They've probably done something in the changing rooms, like ramp the heating up or turn the showers to cold or something like that. It's just the little bits of housery that clubs do, and I think Sunderland have kind of gotten massively on board with it to the nth degree this season.
Alex, to see us off into the sunset, the celebrations at the end of the Sunderland players all posing for photos next to the home end, almost like they'd reached an FA Cup final. What was your take on that? Was it we can always analyse teams for over celebrating Arsenal, very bad for it, but was that a case of Sunderland?
I mean, it's a league game, so arguably yes, but then it's a local derby, and obviously we famously did that in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. Mad Dog Tyndall being the brains behind it. So you know what, if Sunderland had done that to us at St James's Park, we would have done exactly the same back to them if we had beaten them. So I think it's I think fair play to Sunderland for that one. It's a bit of banter, a bit of why not?
This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.